Black Hill Energy, heating homes across County Armagh. Fill up your tank for a rainy day with County Armagh's fastest growing fuel company. For latest prices, visit our website at www.blackhillenergy.net or call us today on 028 38 344 223. Black Hill Energy, Ansborough Industrial Park, Lurgan.
Welcome once again to Armagh Eyes, the Eye on the Ball Sports Podcast. This is your host Elaine Ingram. For this episode, I took a run up to Madden to meet the chairman of Armagh Road Bowls Association, Chris Mallon. Chris also happens to be the father of Kelly Mallon, who of course is a well-known name in Armagh. Kelly is the 8-time All-Ireland Road Bowling champion, but she's probably better known as the captain of Armagh Ladies. She's also Armagh Harps Club player and the captain of Madden Camogie Club, so she's a busy lady to say the very least. I came up to Madden to speak to Chris about bowling, and he gave me a history of Armagh's involvement in the sport, and a very, very interesting one at that. As I left the house, though, things took a rather surreal turn. First of all, Kelly Mallon was outside her garage on a rowing machine. 3 neighbourhood goats were running riot in the garden where a small robot was mowing the grass. Kelly gave me an impromptu lesson on how to throw a bullet, rather unsuccessfully I might add. Then she showed me how it was really done. The bizarre few minutes finished with Chris rummaging in the grass for the bullet, which happened to be, he told me afterwards, the one that was used for when Kelly won her last All-Ireland championship. So I really wouldn't want to be responsible for losing that. Anyway, happily it was found. I caught up with Kelly a couple of days later, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. But first of all, let's hear from Chris, who told us all about the game of road bowls in Armagh. So, Chris, it's really nice to meet you. Armagh and Cork seem to be the places in Ireland where road bowls is the most popular.
Yes, Armagh and Cork would be the 2 biggest counties. Now, there's some bowling goes on in Westport, in Mayo, and there's some in Drogheda. And there's also some in Waterford. But they'll be all of a novice. They'd be all novice types now. All the higher standard is with Armagh and Cork, with all your senior throwers would be all coming from Armagh and Cork. And it's a very ancient sport, road bowling.
It's an Irish sport. It started in Ireland.
Oh, it did, yeah. Well, there's a lot of conflicting stories about how it started or how it got here, but it's basically most of the people and most of the historians would tell you that it originated from the flax mills and the ones that was out working in the flax mills and the Scotch mills. And they would out on dinner time and at break times, and they would throw, possibly even at the start, possibly even before this got such a thing as a road bowl, they might have been just throwing a stone up the road. And there is some history that at one time they probably just did use a stone, but in later years it was always a steel ball.
Yeah. And
the competition ball is 28 ounces. That's the right weight now for a senior or for any adult thrower.
The course itself, is that a set length as well for a competition?
Yes, the course is a set section of a road, and you have a starting line and then you have a finish line, and the object of the person that wants to win is to cover the course in as least amount of shots as they can, and whoever covers in the least amount of shots wins. I often said it's a lot of similar in the rules of maybe golf, only golf's a lot more complicated I suppose, but a lot of the ways, it's whoever can get there in the least amount of shots.
Or like a sort of a puck father type thing.
Yes, it's a puck fodder type thing, whereas you throw your bullet up the road. In Armagh, we're used to calling bullets. And you start off and the two throwers will start. Most of the time, it's one person throwing an ass. Sometimes you might have a partner score if it's only a challenge score. But in competitions, it's always just the two. And you just start off at the start line and you continue on the course. And whoever can cover the course in the least amount of shots is a winner. In championship now, we would have they would all championship scores would have a referee to make sure that all your throwers are sticking to your proper butts. The butts is what is called the mark on the road. That's where your shot finishes. You throw your first shot and then you walk up and it's marked with chalk and usually grass. And they continue on. Obviously the referee keeps them under control that they don't maybe lift their grass and walk up the road a wee bit or run on by their butt. So it keeps everything legal and good. And whoever gets to the end line in the least amount of shots is the winner.
And yeah, so it's a really old tradition around here.
You know, the proper good road bowls course will have a combination of rising ground, maybe a bit of falling ground here and there, a couple of good corners. You don't want it all too straight. You want a nice course that will be challenging for whatever thrower has to play. You know, there's a lot of skill involved in playing a bowl. You can spin a bowl to the right or you can spin it to the left to suit going round whatever type of corner you're going round.
Yeah.
So
kind of like snooker or something like that. So people who would be good at golf or snooker.
There's a fair amount of physical fitness needed.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
You know, how is this a young man's game? I mean, is it?
Well,
and woman's?
It's not necessarily, no. But, you know, you wouldn't need to be as fit to play road bowls as you would be, obviously, to play like Gaelic football or hurling or camogie or nothing. But certainly, fitness levels have changed the game a wee bit now, where you see a lot more of the younger and more sportier types throwing.
Yeah.
And they definitely, you know, you can definitely see a rise in the standards as well, you know.
But you do have somebody who holds the record for the least amount of shots. Is 22. He's from Armagh.
Oh, yeah.
Does that record still stand?
That's a very old. That's a McVeigh.
Yeah.
Joe McVeigh out on the Napa course, the old Napa course.
Yes, I was reading
out
about
in Armagh,
that. Yeah.
And that's a long time. That's even before bowl coming.
It was in the 1950s.
Yeah.
He was big around then.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah.
But does his record still stand?
His record still stands out that road, but a lot of the time they wouldn't have through that course. It may be a different course at times.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different courses on the Napa Road, but he done the 22 shots from Napa Crossroads till where it marks the place where he went in 22 shots. And that's a long time ago that happened now.
Yeah.
That's before the governing bodies and things of bowl coming started, which the first All-Ireland final senior was in 1963. And it was a player from Armagh called Donny McParn and a man from Cork, Derry Kenny. And it took place at the Moy road there. It would have been the old Moy road them days. It's now the Drumcairn road. But there's also a plaque there to mark the first All-Ireland final. It was done there a few years back for the 50th anniversary. And there's a plaque on the bridge marking the spot where the first All-Ireland took place in 1963.
And it's popular now. It's probably more popular now in Cork, is it? Is there a bigger
Cork has a lot more players than Armagh. Obviously Cork's a lot bigger
just
county.
a bigger county, yeah.
But they would have more clubs. We have 10 clubs in Armagh. We have 9 in Armagh, 1 in Tyrone, which is English. And there could be upwards, and there was over 100 clubs in Cork at one time, but it may be back till down round about the 90, I think now. But there's a lot of clubs in Cork, and West Cork especially is a very big bowling area. And they love their bowls in Cork.
Yeah. So, and why do you think it is that it's so popular around here? Does it go through families, do you think? Is it a generational thing?
It would be, yes. It definitely, there's a lot of bowling families. And if you look back through the history of bowls, some of the big families in Armagh would be the Tolls. You've heard probably of Michael Toll
and Pater Toll. Yeah, they were the two that I was. They're very successful.
Michael Toll has 10 senior All Ireland titles, and Michael's father, Aidan Toll, was a great bowler as well. He threw in the senior and won the veterans. And all the Toll family all are involved in bowls. And Thomas Michael would be one of the top throwers at the minute. Is a son of Roisin Toll, who is Mickey Toll's sister. So it's that's
so
a
it
whole
is
lot of family
a
thing there.
Family thing, yeah.
And you have names like you have the Lappins and Katie, Denny Lappin and his sons are some great throwers, and it's all come down through the years. You've the Kernan family in Madden here would have 4, maybe 5 All-Ireland champions.
And, it started off here in Ireland, and bowls, it's popular in America and in places like Italy and Germany.
Yes, there's
is it the Irish diaspora?
Not really, no. The European thing would be a different. We have a European Championships every 4 years in bowling now, and it's a combination of 3 different games. It's a combination of Irish road bowling, that's what it's called when we go out there, Irish road bowling, and then we have Dutch moors, and you have the German lofting, and it's like a triathlon, I suppose. If I wonder about the word,
are they very different? The 3 disciplines.
They're different. Yes, the German lofting is all about how far you can lift a bullet in the air, and it's only measured to where it hits the ground. Now, the Dutch moor bowls is just through on grass instead of on the road. It's a very similar game to the road bowl, only it's through with a wooden bowl with wee bits of lead into it to put weight into it, but it's generally more or less wooden. And it's a very similar game than what is the Irish road bowling game. And the Dutch have got very good at the road bowls, especially the women. The ladies have come on leaps and bounds a number of years and will be very strong in Holland.
So if you were in a competition, like a European competition, do you have to do each of the disciplines?
Yes, you take part in the 3 different disciplines.
So it's kind of like tennis, playing on hard courts and playing on clay. In France they play on clay, and
yeah, it would be, I suppose. It's very it's the lofting now. The Germans are the masters of the lofting, and they would generally run off like a big plank nearly, and they would run up it, and they would loft a bowl that would be maybe 4 or 5 foot in the air when they get rid of it, and they land then on the grass on the outside. Cork throwers can be very good at the lofting as well. Some great lofters in Cork, and it is more a part of the Cork game. They would be more inclined to loft a bowl over a corner if they were throwing a score at a sharp corner. Sometimes you'd see the Armagh throwers will do it as well, but it was generally more a Cork speciality.
And what is the speciality for Armagh then?
Well, the Armagh throwers were better renowned for being fit to play round corners with working the pull or spin on a bowl, and maybe taking the speed off it and judging it better, with less speed to let the road turn the bowl. And they would be more renowned for doing things like that, as opposed to the Cork thrower just lifted. You see, they've 2 different styles. A Cork player hinches a bullet, which means his arm makes a whole 360-degree turn before anything, where Armagh throws underhand, where they just go back like this here.
Right.
So it's a different
different sections of the course then suit different players.
It may do,
depending
yes,
on
at
their
times,
skills. Yeah. Now, I have to say now, when I came into, I'm here in your house and I walked in the door and the whole place is just covered in medals and trophies and everything else. And you were saying they're your daughters, so can you just explain a bit about that to our listeners?
Yes, my daughter is Kelly Mallon, who would be the most decorated lady bowler in Ireland at the minute. She has just broken Greta Cormigan's long-standing record of 7 All-Irelands. She now is 8. She won it back in Tullysarn there 2 years ago, which made her the most successful lady bowler. She has 8 All-Ireland senior titles. She has a European title, and she has 7 Queen of the Roads, which is that international competition which takes place every September down in Cork, in Ballincorrick. And the Germans and the Dutch come over and play the road bowls at it as well.
That's fantastic. That really is. Has bowling have you ever tried to get it into the Olympics or anything like that? Has it ever been attempted to?
No, we never got that far with it. At the minute, we're in the trying to see can we get it recognised as a sport in the north here. It's still not part of sport NIEs. Is
there any reason for that? Like, because it sounds like it's very popular. So you would think is it because maybe it's only like, you know, all the counties aren't really involved in it?
It's probably just because it's a minority sport. You know, not that many people know. If you go out of Armagh and go to outside the actual 8 or 10 mile of a radius of Armagh City, people probably wouldn't even have heard tell of road bowls. You know, it's just
well, personally, I'd heard of it, but I'd actually never really seen it. I think I was in Italy or something, and I did see them on the road, and it was quite fascinating.
Yeah, they played up in northern Italy mostly. The European Championships was out there a few years back in Pesaro, and it was a lovely part of the world and a great place to be in. It was great. The Irish team done very well, and the one there's both competitions. There's individual competitions and there's team competitions, and we had a very successful European Championships out there in Italy. The last time the European Championships took place was in Hull. It was actually cancelled this year. We were due to go to Germany in May, and it was cancelled because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, and the coronavirus, you know, obviously that has had, you know, a big effect on all sports. In terms of yourselves, did you would think that because it's an outdoor event, that maybe, you know, it wouldn't be as badly affected and because it's singular, you know, there's only 2 people on the road at the one time, that you would think it's not like a contact sport, no. But it was still affected. I suppose you could kind of say the same for golf.
We had to cancel all bowling for a number of weeks, as you know. You couldn't meet other people even outside for a while there, and so we couldn't let a crowd congregate to throw, so we had to put a stop to them for a while. So we gradually got them back with small numbers, and our first phase of getting scores back was just our own club members, and no more than when the executive up here, the government put their loosened the thing a wee bit. When we could let 10 people go out and throw, we allowed 10 to go out and throw a score, but we couldn't let any more than 10 go to it.
Would you normally have a lot of spectators on the road while it's on?
You could have 400 or 500 at a score if it is a good, you know, one of the top throwers, 2 of the top throwers throwing. You could have 400 or 500.
Are there any competitions coming up now? What's the next competition that's coming up?
The competitions are running at the minute. All the Ulster Championships are going at the minute. So a lot of novice and Junior C, Junior B. The novice All-Irelands are due to take place, hopefully, in September in Westport, in the 14th to 15th of September. So we're busy trying to get our Ulster champions ready to go to
Yeah, Westport. I mean, has it all been affected by this? I mean, is your season shortened or anything like that?
Oh, it has been affected, surely. We should have had our All-Ireland finals in Cork and our All-Ireland finals in Armagh already through. They have both been postponed.
Yeah.
Your All Ireland and all your the big competitions they all take place in the summertime.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering because obviously the summer's nearly over now.
Yeah.
And, although September we can have nice weather in
We
September.
can, and we can have a lot of rain.
We have a lot of rain, especially in October.
We just have to go on ahead with the rain.
Yeah. Would you think that might give the Irish an advantage because you're probably used to practicing in rain?
Well, it's hard to know at times. Look at the rain. The rain can be as bad sometimes, because you end up with a big puddle on the side of the road somewhere, and it could be on the road to play, or you might have to, try and work away that you take a different shot that maybe doesn't suit you because of the water lying on the road.
And what would the age demographic, would you say, be for in Armagh now for the bowlers? Is it are the younger players coming through, or is the sport dying out in any way, or is it just as popular as ever?
No, I don't think it's dying out at all. No, we have underage from under 12 in boys till the senior grade. You've under 12, under 14, under 16, under 18. You've novice 1, novice 2, junior A, junior B, junior C, intermediate and senior in the male grade.
Yeah.
In ladies grade you have under 16, under 18, intermediate and senior. And we have all numbers in all them grades. And we have introduced there an under 14 Ulster for under 14 girls, because we had a lot of numbers at that age, a lot of girls at that age interested. So we took an Ulster championship in for it, and it was a great success. And we have recently been trying to go around schools, people that maybe are not so much maybe used to the game of bowling or know the game of bowling. As I said to you earlier about, it's a family thing a lot of the time.
Are you happy enough having it where it is?
If there's counties anywhere that would like to take up bowling, we would love to. We would do all we could to help them and try and get them started up. Surely, we recently had a club started up in Dublin.
I'm actually from Dublin. I was trying to think where would be good rural areas around Dublin that you could actually do it.
Well, there's a road out around about Blackrock somewhere.
Oh, that's where I'm from.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you are now.
I must watch out for it the next time down.
There is actually a road started. Or the chairman in Cork would have had a lot of Michael Brennan. He would have a fair involvement and was involved in getting it going there. There's obviously a few Cork men working around Dublin and things they got, and a few Dublin fellas, and they throw there on a Saturday and a Sunday.
Wow, that's interesting.
I recently had some inquiry. Now it hasn't went any further, but somebody from County Down had been inquiring about bowling, but I haven't gotten really talking to them right yet. But you do get inquiries every now and again, and you might get somebody looking you to come to a festival or something and give an illustration of some of they've heard it, and some of the programs the BBC has done there and other stations, has give a good interest in road bowling. People see it on the television there and they say, God, that looks good,
Yeah, it really does. It looks really it does.
It's a great sport, and if you
and all you need is a road.
All you need is a road and two throwers. I could show you there's the calendar that Dominic Morgan and Pat O'Hagan, who was our secretary, that was put together for the 50th anniversary. Now that's the crowd there. The front of that there is the crowd at Michael Toll's 10th All Ireland win.
Do you know what that looks like? A car rally, the amount of people that are there.
Now that was in Tassa, and that's the start of the score when Michael Toll won his 10th All Ireland.
Right.
Which was a historic day, and that's just all different All Ireland champions down through the years. There's some of the girls there. That's Kelly Mallon here, and this is Dervla Toll, who would be the next most successful in Armagh to Kelly.
Wow, it looks very athletic. It's not something you'd actually think about. You'd think you'd have to actually see it in action, but they look very athletic.
Oh, there's a lot of them take it very serious, and they put a lot of effort into it. Thomas Mackle there, under 18, 2009 and 2007, and he won the senior All Ireland. He has also four King of the Roads, which is the same competition for the men as.
That's a fantastic picture.
That is in Dernasafa, on the Dernasafa Road in at the All Ireland final, Kelly Mallon and Carmel Ryan.
Right.
And that's her grandfather there. That'd be my father-in-law.
Wow, that's fantastic.
He's passed
That's a
away. This
fantastic
man's
photograph.
passed away now, but it's a great photo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of faces in that.
That's brilliant. How long have you been involved yourself?
Well, I suppose I threw bullets from as a child.
And where did, sorry to interrupt you there, I was just wondering, where does the term bullets actually come from, do you know?
God, I wouldn't be 100% sure, to be honest with
and
you.
And it's just an Armagh thing?
It's just an Armagh. You see, there's a story always went about the army, probably the British Army in them days, and that they said that the first bowls was actually a cannonball.
Okay.
Small cannonball.
Okay.
And the army was messing about and they started throwing them up the road. That's another sort of a theory about how
the term bullets,
but it may be something to do with how bullets started. But there is a theory that was one of the ways that the road bowling did start.
Well, that's an interesting one.
That's an interesting one too, yes. But we're not so sure. I think we usually normally go with the flax mills more so. This is a general run of most of the men that they would know better about it than.
Yeah. And how long did you say you've been?
Well, I've been involved with bullets all my life, but I never was at the standard of any of the people that you'd see in these pictures here or anything. I always loved the sport, just to go out for a bit of crack in the evening time there. That's the road, Modern Road we live, that's the Fernley Road there that you come up, that's the road we bowl on here. The All Irelands was here a few years back there in 2016, and that was the Modern Road here. That was the first time they ever hosted. But Modern's one of the older clubs in the association, you know. They were going 50 years at that time, and we got the bullets here because it was the 50th anniversary of the club.
Yeah.
And it was a great success. This was always well known as a great bowling area, you know, and there's history of bullets here for 100 years.
Yeah.
Way back in the early days, there would have been bullets here when the RUC wouldn't have been allowing gatherings and things like that. They used to come out early in the morning. They'd come out on a Sunday morning. The town men, as they were called, and they'd come out on the bikes, and they'd throw a score maybe in the Modern Road here, maybe at 7 o'clock in the morning, and got to the breakfast in some of the fellas' houses, and then went to Mass in Modern here, and then took the bikes and back in the road again early and good before they'd be seen.
Right.
So a gathering wasn't allowed in them days, and things like that. That's what they done. You know, they had the bullets very early in the morning to try and get the score through. There'd been a score arranged, and John Roberty would have been another big name out here them days. You were talking about the days of Joe McVeigh, the Red Joe McVeigh as he was known, and John Roberty would have been the big name out here them days.
Yeah.
He'd be my father's brother-in-law. He'd be my uncle by marriage.
Yeah.
And he would have been the biggest name in them days around here, you know. Some of the Armagh men would have come out maybe to challenge him for maybe a few pound. And then the All Ireland started in 1963, and the Bold Common was set up. Bold Common in Cork had been going from 54, I think. And then Bold Common set up in Bold Common Northern Branch set up in 63, and the first All Ireland final was arranged between, as I say, Donny and Derry Kenny. And the rest, as I say, is history.
Yeah. There's
now 16 All Irelands for every year.
Wow. Well, long may it continue.
Yeah, it's great, and it's great, and you know, you can see unfortunately before the coronavirus came in there, we were running nights in Sherry's Field there, and with great numbers, with 60, 70 children coming to practice under lights in good, safe scenario on the 3G pitch.
Yeah.
And it was great to see them, you know. Then we had to stop it all because of virus, you know, and we never really got it. You don't know how much to get going again at the minute.
I know, it's all up in the air.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
very up in the air. So we don't even know will we ever get. We have a date set for the All Irelands in Cork, which will take place on the 24th, 25th of October. And we've dates for the All Irelands up here for the 14th, 15th of November. And sure, we don't know if it.
Yeah, well, I mean, nobody knows.
Nobody
I
knows.
suppose we can only just hope for the best.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great sport. And
yeah, I'm
as I say, I
tempted to give it a go sometime now.
I will have to get that arranged.
Yeah. I don't know how good I'd be now, but
well, sure.
God loves a trier.
You have to start somewhere. We had many's a one coming here. We had different famous people from, like with Denise Lewis, took a go at it one time. You know, the Olympian, and she loved it.
Yeah.
She threw Kelly out in Tassa one Sunday, and it was all filmed on TV, and it was a good sport. You know, it was good crack.
Yeah.
And she loved it. She thought it was a great sport.
Yeah.
And Ewan Thomas threw on the Madden Road here before the All Ireland final. One of the All Irelands that threw in Madden, and Ewan Thomas was here and threw a couple of shots.
That's great. Thanks very much for talking to me.
No problem. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, I got to speak to Kelly after the fantastic Armagh Harps victory over champions Clonairon on Saturday evening. They won out 113 to 1-7. The goal came from Kelly herself, and she had a chance to have another. She had put in a fantastic performance, and here's what she had to say to me afterwards. That was an absolutely brilliant game, Kelly. It's quite a while since I've seen a ladies' football game, and I forgot how thrilling they are to watch, and you must be delighted yourself with that performance.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been working on that system of play for a while now in training. We knew how Clonairon were going to set up, so absolutely delighted that it came off on the day, and absolutely delighted with the win. Yeah,
and your goal, you almost had a second goal there late on as well, and you actually looked stronger near the end than you did earlier on.
Yeah.
That second half they just couldn't contain you at all.
Yeah, Catherine in fairness there was a great save. She got down to the bottom right corner. Brilliant save. First goal was handy enough. If I had missed it, I would have been in trouble. So yeah, the girls make it easy for you.
Yeah. And fitness levels now, I mean, you were telling me that you're coming back from injury at the moment, but I mean you looked good out there, and I know you got a bit of a knock near the end there, but you're looking good in general.
Well, I'm nursing a bit of an Achilles injury at the minute. It's flaring up here now, but you just get through the game and do what you can for the team, I suppose. I've Camogie next week, so I'll just rest from now to next week, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same for them on Saturday or Wednesday.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how you do it. The last time we spoke the other night, you were teaching me, very unsuccessfully I might add, how to throw a bowl, and it was only after I tried it that I realised it was the one that you threw when you won your last All Ireland title, with your dad rummaging for it in the bushes. So where do you get the time, and where does bowling fit in with your career in general?
That's a good question. I don't know where I get the time. You just have to find time for these things. If you love it enough, you'll always find time to do it. With the Camogie and football, that keeps me fit for the road bowls. So I'd only really start to practice maybe 3 or 4 weeks prior to competition. So it's not like a full year thing with the road bowls, whereas the Camogie and football, you'd find you'd only have maybe a month or 2 off season, and the rest is in season. So that keeps me fit.
So the bowling, you would say, would be your priority in terms of your sporting, even though you came in last year as Armagh captain, and you're going from strength to strength by all accounts in all of your sports.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't say it's a priority. I couldn't pick one right now. I never could pick one. I love them all.
That's why you do them all.
Yeah. I wouldn't pick one over the other. If I had something on the Saturday and something on the Sunday, I'd play both. That's always the way it's been with me. Like.
Oh God. And your dad obviously has a huge influence on you. He's didn't say too much when we were having our conversation, but because I think he was just trying to be, a little bit modest. But you could see, and your house is just coming down with your trophies and your medals and everything.
Yeah.
But you're quite unassuming yourself, and
it's just the way Daddy's brought me up, I suppose. Yeah, very modest, all of us. Daddy, I wouldn't have achieved what I have if it wasn't for him and his interest in the sport, I suppose. From a young age, I'd started very, very young with him, and I just loved it from then onwards and just stuck at it.
Yeah. And what about the Armagh captaincy now? I mean, you came into that and flourished. And how did you find that?
Well, I suppose with an injury last year, Keevan Morgan, I'd sort of had a wee bit of a feel for captaincy, but it's different. There is a lot of added things off the pitch that you have to do with captaincy as well. Like, so people sort of forget that, but I do love it. I love Armagh, and it's an absolute honour to captain your county at any grade or at any sport.
Yeah, I mean, because you just clearly are such a driven person, and you don't have to be loud and shouty and everything to control a team and to lead. Mm-hmm. You lead by example anyway, but what do you think qualities do you bring to that role?
I'm definitely not a loud person. I'd probably say it's just, as you say, they're lead by example, and the girls see that I work hard and that they follow suit as well with that. But at the same time, if you're playing at county level, you have that drive in you anyway. So the girls push me on as much as I push them on.
And just a wee word about the men's. I know, I don't know, obviously with Madden knocking Ballymacnab out of the championship last week, that was a great achievement.
Mm-hmm. They're actually playing right now. I'd love to know how that's going.
I thought they were playing tomorrow. They're
playing tonight. They're playing Pierce Oaks.
Oh, I see. Any word on how you didn't hear anything?
I don't know. I'll find out some way or another, but I'm not too sure how that went. Hopefully they got through that. They've a really good team there, and good vibe around camp, and the community is a great community. So
yeah. And do you find now, because you're playing for Armagh Harps, you're not playing for Madden? Does that make any difference at all, or is it just this is your adopted team? This is your adopted club.
It is my adopted club now. Yeah, it definitely is. At the start, now it took me a while to rake in with the city girls. Now they're a wee bit lighter than I would be. I'd have more of a voice maybe with the Madden girls, but coming into the last few years, I've definitely found my feet with this crowd of girls, and they're definitely my second club.
Yeah. And when are you back at the Bowls again now?
There's competition coming at the end of September, so I probably won't do anything until I see out the club campaigns.
Okay. Well, you know that you don't have any competition in me whatsoever. You completely put me to shame out there.
You weren't that bad.
I was that bad. No, I was worse.
You kept it on the road for a while.
Listen, thanks a million, Kelly, and good luck in the rest. Who do you play next?
We play the winners of Shane O'Neill's and Crossmaglen. They're playing tonight.
Yeah, well, it was a fantastic win, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks,
appreciate
Kelly.
that. Thank you.
Cheers. That win set up a meeting between Shane O'Neill's in the semi-final on Friday the 28th, and it's one to really look forward to. Unfortunately, however, we spoke about Madden playing Pierce Oak simultaneously. They lost out in a penalty shootout, the first ever penalty shootout in Armagh, so they made history but were on the wrong end of it. The sides were level 2-11 to 0-17. The 2 goals came from Madden, but Pierce Oak won 5-3 on penalties in the end. On Sunday, there was a double header in the athletic grounds. The first was a fantastic match between Mullaghbawn and Crossmaglen, where Cross ran out comprehensive 4-18 to 0-10 victors. That puts them into the semi-final, as probably would have been expected anyway. But Mullaghbawn had a man sent off for an elbow to the face of Stephen Kernan at the end of the first half. But I spoke to Crossmaglen manager. Stephen was more concerned about the way Rian O'Neill and Oisin O'Neill had lumps taken out of them during the game, and he was not too happy about that. So we'll hear what he had to say about that and his reaction to the game. Armagh Harps were playing in the second one against Kalivi, and Kalivi won that one 0-17 to 0-9, and that was another comprehensive win for them. That puts them into the semi-final as well. Anyway, let's hear what Stephen had to say now.
I've seen Mullaghbawn playing last year against our second team in the intermediate championship. I've seen them playing this past couple of years at under 21 level, and we fully expected them to land today with a lot of men behind the ball. They didn't really do that there, and they took the game to us at the start, which is to our credit, and it made for a good opening sort of first 15 minutes, but having said that, we wouldn't be happy with our first 15 minutes. We started very slow. It took us a while to get into our groove a wee bit, and when we did, we did create some good scores. There was a couple of players who were particularly outstanding throughout the game. I thought Chris Crowley and Tony O'Callaghan were outstanding, and I thought Oisin O'Neill was brilliant from wing half forward. Oisin and Rian are big men. They are. It's not their fault that they were born over 6 foot and extremely athletic and elegant men.
They get targeted.
When they go for balls, there's men taking lumps out of them that maybe if they were taking the same lumps out of a smaller man, you'd see it because he'd be on the ground. But it doesn't mean to say that those thumps don't hurt, And I think that they probably could be doing with a wee bit more protection whenever they're out on the field.
And they do well to keep their calm themselves, because like that, it's tough when you're getting pounded like that all the time. And
They do.
Can't really retaliate.
They do, of course. And the only reason why they're getting that sort of treatment is because the opposition want them to retaliate because they're the best. And I think they've matured really well over this past wee while. They've recognised their role within the team, and we think that they do need to have a wee bit more respect paid on the field by the officials, because at the end of the day it's not the same whenever there's players going in our defence. Players get free. We would feel the players would get frees a wee bit easier than we get them up the field.
So you think because you're Crossmaglen?
No, not going to play that card.
Okay.
In Cross we prepare for every game and give every game the respect that it deserves, and over the years it serves us really well. I know myself as a player, I was very fortunate to be on the winning end in championship games quite often, and it's not that we expected to be anywhere. We prepared for every game, we went out and performed in the games, and then the journey took us to wherever you get to, so it's the same in this instance. The boys are on their own journey. Today was difficult at the beginning, but they ended up where they got the scores, they got some great passages of play, and it leads us going into a good form and to a semi-final, because at the end of the day a lot of the players are only with us now maybe 8 weeks, because we didn't have the county players earlier in the year whenever we were preparing. We had injuries to Aaron, Cian Conville, Tony Kernan, and a few other boys that that's only their second game of the year because they didn't even play in the league earlier in the year, so leaving us in the semi-final with a lot of positivity and reason to be looking forward to it.
And Oisin is back to full strength now. He's looking really strong, coming back from his injury last year.
He is. He's in outstanding shape. To be fair, I'd say it's probably the best shape I've seen Oisin in now since he's joined the senior team.
Good out there today.
And he's performing really well.
Do you think not having the crowd here, it was very flat out there now? I don't know, it was probably flat because you were so far ahead and there was no competition, but as well as that, the way it is here with very, not very many spectators, does that affect you at all, or is that just once you're on the field it doesn't matter?
No, I thought the atmosphere was fairly good today. I thought it was okay. Like, obviously you would like more people here, but it is what it is. We're not going to get any more. Today we come down to do a job and we did it, and the crowd, there'll be other days whenever we will really notice the crowd whenever we're semi-finals.
Does it feel like proper championship game though?
It did today. It did for us. I definitely felt like it was a championship game. I think we prepared all week like it was a championship game. In training there was a great feeling that we were in championship week. So not from our perspective. I have a good relationship with the boys and that are on the panel now. Said before that I had played with them as teammates and managed them, and sometimes that can be difficult when you played with them to become a manager, but the players that are here I like to think I always had a great relationship with them, and at the end of the day it's all about them, and getting them into facilitating them to go and perform to the best of their ability, and so that they can create their own memories, and I like the role that I'm involved in at the moment. It was good enough to win today. We're not perfect, I don't know if perfect ever exists, but that's what we're striving for, and right now we would feel that we would have things to work on after that day again without being cliche about it, and no matter what way we approach it, we still want to play football properly and perform the way that gives the jersey a bit of pride and respect.
Okay.
Cheers. Thanks a million. Going all right.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Eye on the Ball. If so, subscribe to the podcast, and don't forget to get all your news from Armagh Eye. And I hope you join me next week.
Black Hill Energy, heating homes across County Armagh. Fill up your tank for a rainy day with County Armagh's fastest growing fuel company. For latest prices, visit our website at www.blackhillenergy.net or call us today on 028 38 344 223. Black Hill Energy, Ansborough Industrial Park, Lurgan.